Hello everyone. So in this video I'm going to teach you the chapter 1, the basic ideas and example. That is just a brief introduction to the game theory, and this is first time you are going to study the topic like game theory. So I'll begin with this topic by introducing a example, and then we will understand that what is the subject game theory about, and then we will do some other examples. So, the example I'm going to take up is the classic prisoner's dilemma game, and I'm going to brief out that is, what is the framework for that game. So, this is the prisoner's dilemma game. So, this is the prisoner's dilemma game. इसमें scenario क्या है? There are two individuals, or you can say two individuals. And they both together they commit a crime. And the authority who catches them do not have enough evidence to prove that these two individuals have committed this crime. So what they do is they put both individuals into different cells. दोनों individuals को वो अलग अलग सेल में रखेंगे and they will interrogate both the individuals, and the two individuals will not be able to interact with each other until and unless the whole custody is over, right? So the possible scenarios in this game are if both individuals they remain silent, अगर दोनों ने कुछ भी नहीं बोला about the crime. So whenever they are being interrogated, अगर उन दोनों ने they chose to remain silent, किसी ने गवाही नहीं दी, then they both will get a light punishment and they will be freed then. And if one of them betrayed and one of them confronted that other one has committed the crime, the person who thinks or who confesses about the crime will be freed, and the other person will be put in the jail and given the heavy punishment. So this is the scenario कि अगर कोई एक भी गवाही दे दे about the crime, तो जो गवाही दे देगा वो फ्री हो जाएगा, but the other person will suffer because of it. And the third option is अगर दोनों गवाही दे देते हैं, then they both will get a heavy punishment. Nobody will be freed and both will be getting the punishment. So I'm just writing down the scenarios. The first is both remain silent. Both remain silent. They both will get a light punishment. And if one confesses, if one individual confesses about the crime and other remain the silent, then the betrayer जिसने गवाही दी है he will be free. Betrayer goes free. And other will suffer. And the third option is that the both confess. So the third option is that the both individual confess. In that case, the both will get a harsh punishment. Both gets a harsh punishment. So now what is going to happen is that in this scenario, whenever the first individual is put in a cell, they both individual, we are in the game theory, there is this assumption that the game theory, the individuals are rational. So whenever the first individual will think about these three scenarios, he will think of all the possible outcomes. So he will think कि अगर मैं चुप रहता हूँ और second individual भी चुप रह जाता है, then they both will be freed with a light punishment only. But if I remain silent and the second person confess, I will be at this outcome that uh, I will have to suffer with a harsh punishment, and the betrayer, that means the other individual, is going to be free without any punishment. And though he has confessed, though he has also committed the crime with him. So whenever he choose to remain silent, he will think of the scenario: what if the other individual confess, right? Other individual confessing will also change the first individual's outcome. He will get get a harsh punishment because the other individual has confessed. Now the third outcome is he thinks अगर उसने confess कर दिया and second individual has remained silent, in that case he thinks that he is better off क्योंकि उस केस में उसने confess कर दिया है, so he will be freed, but the second individual will be suffering, but he do not care because he is at the end getting free and he is the rational individual. He will only think about his payoffs, he will only think about the utility that he is getting. All right, so in that scenario this is going to happen. In the next scenario he thinks that if he confess but the other individual also choose to confess, in that scenario they will land up in this case that the both individual will confess. In that case they both are getting worse off, because in that case they both are going to get a harsher punishment even than this case. So they are getting a harsher punishment. So the best outcome for them was that they both remain silent, but because they think कि अगर मैं silent रहता हूँ, other person who is not knowing that I, whether I'm silent or whether I'm confessing the crime, he is better off by confessing, because he is better off that agar first individual silent raha, I can confess and move to this outcome. So what happens in this game is that both individual are going to confess. So through the rationality, whenever we say in economics, हम सोचते हैं that we are achieving at a better outcome, we are achieving at a better payoffs. But in game theory, it gives us the idea that even the rationality leads us to the worst outcome. So in that case, the outcome that will be the equilibrium is going to be this case, that the both individuals are going to end up confessing about the crime and they both will get a harsh punishment. जबकि इनका best outcome क्या था, that they both remain silent and they both will get a light punishment, but they end up being at this conclusion that they both individual are going to confess about the crime. And they just says that the game theory gives us an idea that how even the rational individual, even the rationality can also lead us to the worst or the least preferred outcomes. So game theory is a sense a study about how people make their decisions, and when they know, when the both individual or all the individuals know that the outcome that is going to be achieved do not depend only on their own action, but it also depends on the action profiles which other players or other individuals in the scenario, in the same situation, are taking. So I can write that game theory is the study it is the study of how people are going to make decisions, and their decisions, and they know that the outcome of their decision depends not only on their own decisions but also on the actions chosen by others. Right? And this you can see even in the prisoner's dilemma. The outcome that individual end up getting is not depending only on his choices whether to remain silent or confess about the crime. It also depends on what the other individual is going to do. For example, if the individual one has chosen to confess and other player remain silent, he will end up being at the this outcome. But if he confesses and other player also confess, the both individual are going to end up having this outcome. So the outcome does not depend only on the choices of the individual one, it also depends on the choices of the and other individual. So this gives us a framework of the scenario of the situations where the individuals are interacting with each other and each are choosing their own action, but their own action is not going to determine the level of outcome they are achieving. It is the interaction by all the individuals collectively that is going to impact the level of outcome or the conclusion that they are reaching at. And so you can also say that the game theory is also the study or the analysis of interactive decision making. So this is the analysis of the interactive decision making. And so, in a game theory framework or in a game theory analysis, each individual is aware of their own objectives, of their preferences. For example, in the prisoner's dilemma, we know that each individual will prefer this outcome. This is the most preferred outcome, then this is the second preferred outcome, and this is the least preferred outcome. So each individual knows their set of preferences. They also knows their limitation and constraint of their actions, and so they will choose their action in a very calculated and in a very strategic way. So we can say that the individuals in the game theory framework, they will be behaving rationally and they have the perfect knowledge about the scenario. So game theory adds the dimension of the rational behavior between the interaction of the decision makers, right? So you can add the key term analysis of interactive decision making between the rationally thinking individuals, or I can write it at this point downside. So individuals are aware of their objectives, or we can say their preference set, limitation or the constraints, And knowing all this, they make their rational decisions. They make the rational decisions. So that means they will make their decision in a way that they want to achieve their most preferred outcome, knowing that what is the constraint, right? So they will not make any decision in which they are going to be worse off. They are making every decision in a way thinking about achieving the most preferred outcome. But we will see that this rational decision making, and sometimes in some situation, can lead them to the least preferred or the worse off outcome or the objective that they had, but they are making the decision thinking that they will get the most preferred set. And also there is one more assumption that is in the background, that each individual know about the game, about the framework of the game perfectly. That is, the both individual knows that these are the three options which I am being given, and he also knows that these are the three options which the other individual is also given, and the individual one knows that these are his the preference set, and he also knows that these will be the similar preferred set for the individual 2, and the ordering of the preferences also is known. So there is the common knowledge between the two individuals in the game theory. All right, now I think that is for the introduction of the game theory. So game theory in a way is going to help you understand that how, when multiple decision makers, and those are rational decision makers, when they interact in a situation, what kind of outcome we are going to come at, or what outcome we are going to arrive at, is the study that we do under the game theory. Right now we will just do some of the more examples that can just help you to understand the application of game theory to several real life situation or several other aspects of uh, economics. And not only economics, game theory is applied across many subjects and many field of studies. So yeah, so let us start with an example, the rat race or the GPA rat race. So, what is the GPA rat race framework? In this, you have a number of individuals, let's say, that are the batchmates of your own class. So, they are your classmates, and the criteria for getting the GPA is that the highest 40% will be getting the A grade. So, the 40% will get the A grade, and the next in the ordering, the next 40% are going to get B grade. Now it does not depend that these highest scorers are only those who score the 100 on 100. So this is the scenario that any highest scorer will get the A grade. So even if the highest score is 10 out of 100, he will get the grade A. And even if the highest scorer is 100 on 100, he will also get the grade A. So in that scenario, what the batchmates do, what the classmates do, is that they agree to not work hard. अगर अब सब लोग पढ़ाई नहीं करेंगे, what will happen? They all will have a low grade, and even getting a low grade, they will, even with having a low grade, they can also get the A grade in their report card, right? So they all, to achieve a good outcome, they all decide to not work hard. Because by not working hard, they can achieve the same outcome of getting a grade A. That is, that they have to achieve it by working too hard and competing with each other, right? But is this decision, collective decision of not working hard, sustainable, or is it the equilibrium? Let us see to it. For example, you collectively decided that we are not going to work hard, we all are going to score low marks. So even by scoring low marks, we can have a grade A and we can enjoy and chill in. But whenever an individual goes home, he thinks that even if I work a little harder, I can be the highest scorer and I can make this probability of me getting in the A grade the highest chance. So, what he will do is he will go home and he will study well so that he can be the highest scorer and he can make his position among these 40% students. But this is not only the individual one who is thinking like this, it is all the individuals who will think in this way, that let me put some efforts and get a little higher marks so that I can for sure secure the grade A, right? And in this way what will happen is that everyone else in the class is doing the same, and everyone is putting the higher effort to work hard. And even though they have decided that they will not work hard, because they they are working in their rooms, in their, nobody can actually check on them कि वो actually में study कर रहे हैं या नहीं कर रहे. So they will choose to study better because they want to achieve the grade A marks by working even little more harder than everybody else. So what will happen is, this is the same scenario like the prisoner's dilemma. Everybody's preferred outcome was not to confess, it was to remain silent. But their individual incentive to deviate and get free from the prison led them to the outcome where the both individuals end up confessing and getting a harsh punishment. In the same way, where their most preferred outcome was not to work hard, and most of the students get grade A by just working little hard, what they end up getting is that everybody will work hard and they will be on a worse off scenario because they are getting the same grade A by working too hard, which they could have achieved the grade A by working not so hard. So they will deviate to work hard, right? And so this will not be the equilibrium that is going to achieve. So this common decision is eventually going to fail, and they all know it that this is not going to happen. Now, if you look at these two examples, the rat race example and the prisoner's dilemma example, these two examples are the example where the both individuals are losing out. So this is a lose-lose game for the all individuals, but all the games in the game theory are not the lose-lose games. Some are also win-win games. So this is a lose-lose scenario, and this is also a lose scenario. An example of the win win scenario is of the international trade. International trade. So, in the international trade, each country they are going to produce more of the good than the rest of the world, in which they have the relative advantage in producing. And what will end up having is, we will globally have a more production which the countries can exchange with each other, and that is how an international trade is a win-win scenario for each of the countries. So this is also one example. So all games are not lose lose games. Some games are win win scenarios, and some game are a zero sum game also, in which the one's gain is the other's loss. So in that way, we can take one more example, that is, why are professors so mean? So you usually have this notion that professors are very mean. They have a very strict rules. They do not accept their late submission. They do not give you good grades. They do not check your answer sheets leniently, and they do not allow you to get into the class after. I mean, late entry is not allowed. Yeah. So all these scenarios make a professor so mean and rude, but if you see the kind of choices a professor has, it is that either to be strict or to be not strict, right? And to be genuine to the concerns of the individual. So, or you can say accept the genuine. So he accepts the genuine reasons for your late submission, for your late coming to the class. So what happens is whenever he tries to behave like this, he there are chances that some students are going to override his being genuine being a genuine teacher. So what will happen is that he will not able to distinguish between the reasons which are just excuses and not any genuine reason for them to not do the work on time. So what will happen is he knows the slippery slope of the being being genuine in the class. So what will happen is that the students will get to know that he's soft and he is uh, letting you sit in the class even if you come late. He is giving you attendance even if you come late. He's giving you marks even if you do not study, and he's accepting the late submission. So what will happen is student will never finish their task on time, and they will keep on extending the deadlines. And so that behavior of the students makes the professor choose among his decisions or actions to be strict. So a professor is forced to choose the option of being strict, even though he loves to understand people's genuine reason for not putting up the work on time. So that is how the outcome of professor being so mean is achieved, because he knows that students are going to misuse the action profile of being genuine for the kind of reasons they are putting up for their late submission and all, right? And the next example, we can think of something related to economics. It can be seen as two firms competing in prices. So the scenario is like if you have two firms और वो homogeneous product बनाती है, that the product of one firm can be easily substituted by the product of the firm two. So in that scenario what happens is each firm will try to capture the whole market by reducing the price level. So they will keep on lowering the prices. अगर let's say this is the firm 1 and this is the firm 2. So initially let's say their price was 100 and its price was let's say 99. So because the products are homogeneous, so the all market share will go to the firm 2, because the same good which firm 1 is selling is the same good which firm 2 is selling. They are homogeneous, so individuals will buy the firm two's product which is 99. So what firm 1 will do, it will lower its price to let's say 98, right? And then what happens is the whole market share goes to firm 1 from firm 2. So firm 1 will so the firm 2 will also think in the same way. Okay, I want to get to the whole market share, so let me lower the prices to 95. I'm just randomly stating the numbers. So in the same way what will happen is both firm will be in a race to keep on lowering the prices. So they both firm will keep lowering prices till the prices becomes equals to their both marginal cost. So they both will end up having no profit, because when the price is equals to marginal cost, this is the scenario of zero economic profit. So there was a better outcome for them. It was that they both put their prices 100, and they both share the half share of the market, and they earn some profit. But because they were rational, they wanted to capture the whole market, they will keep lowering the prices, and that will lead them to achieve at the outcome of zero economic profit. So and with the two firms, it is possible to form a collateral for the firm to come at the agreement that they will hold on to the prices of 100, where they can both enjoy some share of the market and earn some profits. But as the number of firms increasing, as the number of competing firms increases, this cooperative action to hold the prices same is not going to happen, and they will end up getting in the price competition thing, right? And there is also one example. You can see that why do countries disarm or go into the war game even though they know that the peace is better, and so each country will have a military power, and they will put a lot of funds into the military even though every country wants to maintain the peace. So this also involves the strategic decision making, because they know that even if I do not devote my funds to the military power, what will happen is the other country is going to do it, and that scenario is even worse than both of us having the military weapons, right? So in that way, you can see that your game theory applies to a lot of aspect or the lot of situation in the real life. So you can see that why game theory applies to a lot of fields. So for example, in economics, it will apply to the duopoly pricing auctions. In politics, it will apply to voting stuff, and in businesses it is going to apply with the market competition, salary negotiations. In the tech, which you can see right now, it is the in the AI field, you can see that if uh, perplexity has given some discount, the chat gpt is going to do the same, the gemini is going to do the same, and this is because they want to capture the market share for the perfectly homogeneous good that they are offering, right? So that is how the game theory is applied to a lot of field and lot of situation that you see around. So this is a very interesting topic to study about, and this was just an introductory video about it, and that also completes the chapter 1. Few of the examples are left for you to read, give a short read from the textbook. So yeah.